Yeah.
Welcome to the Rhinebeck Scoop. I'm your host, Jennifer C., and I'm dishing out social commentary about our beloved town. If you like this show, please give it 5 stars on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Also, tell a friend. Rhinebeck, this is your radio show, so please give me topics you would like me to discuss. You can DM me, email me, or leave me a voicemail. And if you'd like to be anonymous, I understand it's a small town, I won't say your name unless you specify. From last week's episode, I received some great feedback. So here are a couple comments I want to read, which I was really excited about. I am listening to How to Get Laid in RBK with Jennifer C. You are so funny. I keep laughing out loud and looking like a crazy person. Someone else said, loved your last RBK show. Well played. I like how you worked with Matty's personality and made it part of the show's dynamic. How about that, Matty?
Nice.
I know, nice. I'm pretty impressed. I'm impressed with both of us, our teamwork. So today we are discussing the mystery of the appearing hearts and the leaf blower noise ordinance situation, which I've never talked about, but now I would like to explore a little bit more. So first of all, I always want to be honest on this radio show with you guys, and here's what happened. So last week, I went in and I recorded a double episode. One episode is going to be the one you're listening to next week with Mark First. The second one was supposed to be for this episode. And I thought I could just not prepare that well. I thought I could just bang it out and be like, oh, okay. So I spent a lot of time preparing for Mark's episode and pretty much no time preparing for this episode. And as you guys can imagine, the episode just sucked. And Matty, what did you think about that whole situation? It was pretty bad. You can be honest.
No, I didn't think it sucked as much as you did. I mean, it meandered a little, but
yeah.
Co-producing many podcasts here, I've seen far worse meandering. So it's fine to redo, and you should be happy with it.
It was so bad. And Matty's being so nice about this so I leave the studio, I'm driving, I'm at the light in the middle of Rhinebeck, and I text Matty and I'm like, just scrap that piece of shit. Like, I don't even want to listen to it. It's that bad. I can't do anything through editing. It was just getting worse and worse. And it was just a topic that you can't do a whole episode on. It was just, anyway, you guys get the point. So this is my mea culpa with Matty today because he's taking his precious time to re-record. And what did I get you, Matty?
You got me 2 delightful things. An incredible Barbie balloon, which you know I like the movie. Mm-hmm. And the other thing which I like even more, which is some of your homegrown hamburger meat, which is quite delicious.
Exactly. And the Barbie balloon, now there were several, but I picked the one that had diversity because I know you're very politically correct. So there is a white woman, a black woman, a Latin woman, and an Asian woman on there. So that is for you.
It's perfect. It represents all Barbies.
All Barbies. Every single one. So yes. And it's pink. I think they were all pink. So you really had no choice.
Well, it makes sense. Let's be honest.
Actually, that balloon is more for like a 4-year-old girl. So considering.
I think of myself more as a 10-year-old girl, but I'll take it.
Okay. That works too. So first, a few bougie chats. So this is a new little thing I want to do. A little bougie chat. I would like to make a retraction from last episode. I said, Matty, that I never slept with a Republican. That is not true. I've slept with 3. I went back home. I did the head count. I was like, okay, there's 3 that I definitely know of, but I have not slept with a female Republican. So hence I was still kind of right because it was Nikki Haley on the Marry, Fuck, Kill game.
True, but I'd also point out that clearly the Republicans you slept with were not very memorable.
Not at all. No.
You are.
Not even close. There was one guy, and I remembered him. I had to really think back. I mean, this was 20 years ago. And I remember the next morning on his fridge was a letter from G.W. Bush's campaign saying, thank you for the contribution. And you guys, I don't want to get political here, but my least favorite president is G.W. So I was just horrified that happened, and I've tried to shut that out of my memory and my trauma.
The shame.
And I know, it's so shameful. But no, I listened back to that episode. Matty, did I hear right? Did you say you're into A, locksmithing, and B, sewing?
Those 2 things are both true. Of many hobbies, yes. locksmithing is also a profession as well.
Tell me about the locksmithing.
Locksmithing. We'll do this really quick. I started collecting locks by the age of 5.
Whoa, okay.
And I also became a licensed locksmith, which is something you can do in New York City. Not my main profession, but it allows me to work in that profession and do lock openings, safe openings, lock picking, all of the fun lock things. I go to lock festivals. It's kind of crazy.
Hold on. Whoa, you got to go back there. What's a lock festival?
There are many kinds. There's locksmithing as a profession, and now it's a sport called lock sport, where people pick locks. There's enormous number of YouTube videos of non-professionals picking locks. Because of the internet, these exploits are visible to everybody, whereas years and years ago, it was through, sort of underground newsletters because there was no internet.
Okay, I think I fell asleep, but I just woke back up.
I know. Well, you asked, I had to do a deep dive. You can edit it all out.
So let me ask this. So can we break into the Rhinebeck Bank?
Anything can be broken into.
Wow. Okay, I know what we're doing afterwards.
There you are.
That's cool. All right.
I didn't say you wouldn't get caught. I just said anything could be broken into.
Very Ocean's 11. How about the sewing? Do you needlepoint and stuff? Like, are you doing the pillows?
No, I don't do
live,
that.
love, laugh?
I don't do anything. There are no objects in my house that have things like that written on them. I'm not. That's horrifying.
It's like me and the Republican.
Yeah, that would be. Yes. I'm not impressed when I go to someone's house and there's little slogans written everywhere.
Yes, I would agree with that. So, Matty, you are officially a special little snowflake.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you so much. So, so Boujee news. Let's move on. Oh, this one I love. This one I woke up to and I thought it was so cute. The mystery of the appearing heart. So let's read about this in the Hudson Valley Pilots. If you were tooling around the business center of the village of Rhinebeck around Valentine's Day, perhaps you noticed a line of red hearts on white paper taped to almost every window and storefront. We have no clue. They were here on Wednesday morning when we got here, one village retailer told the pilot. As of yesterday afternoon, most of the nearly 75 mystery hearts were still in place. It seems that village retailers are rather sentimental, but no one had taken credit for the decorations. I find that lovely. Who do you think did it? I have some ideas.
Absolutely no idea. I saw it in the pilot, but I don't know.
Isn't it fascinating that they haven't seen anyone doing it in the act? Because, okay, that's not how I want to say it. Isn't it fascinating that they haven't caught anyone on video putting up these hearts?
I suspect there's video somewhere, but it isn't really, something someone's spending a lot of time looking for.
Yeah. Here are my guesses of who I think did it. Number one, I think it actually could have been someone on the police force, just because the video is not being revealed. So I think it could have been someone. I don't know if our police would do this. I mean, luckily, knock on wood, we don't have a ton of crime in this town, so they're not like going from murder scene to murder scene, thank God. They could have time to do this. Number two, I think it could be Samuel Sweets. Oh, you're shaking your head. No, why not?
I just don't see them doing it.
I could see them doing it as a cute promotion where maybe it comes out a month later. Oh, we did it. I don't know. I could see that.
I don't think it's a business. I think it's a person.
You think it's a person? Okay. And then my last guess is it's Elena from Land of Oz. And I say her because she has this great childlike store. It is obviously for children. And I thought it was a very cute childlike thing to do. And I could see maybe her and her employees doing that. So those are my three big guesses.
I'm going to guess it's a high school student, an eccentric, fun high school student who did it as a fun project.
See, I was thinking that too, but then I was like, I don't know. Do these students care about that these days, making a village happy? Aren't they just home with their Xbox smoking weed?
No, I think you're othering the generation, which I don't approve of.
I know. We went through that. Okay, that's fine. So I'm curious to see if anyone steps up. But the good news is it put a smile on people's faces. The town and the businesses seemed charmed by it. So it was all good. Let's move on to white people problems. I have never discussed the whole leaf blower situation. I think it's fascinating. I keep following it. I'm like, this is interesting. So let me read the pilot first, and then I have something else to read. Okay. The proposed noise ordinance amendment for the town of Rhinebeck increases noise levels for power equipment on residential property from 65 decibels to 80 decibels between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. and increases the decibel level for power equipment with mufflers from 70 to 80 and increases the distance of such equipment noise from the lot line of 10 feet to 50 feet. The proposal would also allow lawn mowing on Sundays and holidays, which is currently not allowed. In addition, the proposed amendment adds a new provision in Section C of the draft of the ordinance, Unreasonable Noise Prohibited Acts. A new subsection also states no person shall cause or permit to be made unreasonable noise, which is defined by any disturbing, excessive, or offensive sound that disturbs a reasonable person of normal sensitivities. So here's the thing that I'm not getting. It's a noise ordinance, right? So that's supposed to help with noise or help decrease the noise. But now we're increasing the noise on Sunday, and we're also increasing the decibels loud. So any thoughts on that? Because I'm confused by it.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, thank you.
Does not make any sense. This is a huge issue, actually. It touches politics, socioeconomic, a vast array of issues that are tied up in this, because what they're not talking about is what many municipalities have done, which is ban gas-powered equipment, demanding that it become electric, which is obviously much quieter. There's been a lot of pushback about that because of good reason. I mean, I understand the pushback, but eventually that has to be what happens. The pushback is really simple. You have all of these small businesses that have a huge investment in gas-powered equipment, and to ask them over, a certain period of time to get rid of it and replace it with electric is an enormous expense for them. And I agree and understand that, but at the same time, that's the direction we should be going in, even if it's slow.
Okay, and I agree with you on that. But I'm sitting there reading this ordinance, and then I'm reading it again in the Daily Catch, and I'm sitting there going, doesn't this just piss people off? Because it says one thing, and then it's actually hypocritical in itself. It says something completely different. So is the noise in the village that bad? I haven't noticed it, but I don't live in the village.
I can't speak to the village. I don't live in the village, but it's true of any dense area, whether it's Rhinecliff or Rhinebeck Village or anywhere where houses are close together, and you have property lines where people want to have a peaceful weekend, and then someone's running a leaf blower for 2 hours to gather the leaves together, and it's a gas-powered leaf blower, by example, and that would drive you crazy.
No, absolutely. Especially if it's some event. Let's say it's a christening and you bring everyone back to the house and things like that. And then it gets really nuancy because you don't get along with that neighbor. So you can't talk to that neighbor. Yeah. Or the neighbor's just doing it to piss you off.
Well, I mean, it's, often it's a contractor that's been hired by the neighbor. And I'm not blaming the contractor. They have a job to do, and I get it. And it may take 2 hours to gather. I mean, it's stupid to gather leaves. Yeah, this is another environmental issue we can talk about. But
thank you. Amen.
But assuming, you've been hired to do it, I don't blame the contractor. That's their job. They're paid to do it. The whole thing is broken because really you shouldn't have these things that are that loud. And that's why we have to move to electric. And from an environmental standpoint, it's, it's like running a truck to run these things. It's crazy.
It is crazy. So the funny part of this is if you read down in the article, it's just one guy from Rhinecliff complaining. I'm like, okay, where are all the... Okay, now there may be more.
There's others. I know who that is. By the way, he did actually love your Valentine show.
Oh, I love you. No criticism. No criticism.
Just want to let you know. No, it often takes one person to get the wheel moving on something.
Okay.
It makes sense because not everyone thinks about it. They're aggravated, but they're not actually going out there and doing something about it. So I applaud anyone who's trying to take action against what is aggravating to many people.
And then I read in the Daily Catch that the Village of Rhinebeck Police Department, which the town contracts for local law enforcement, rarely responds to noise-related calls. Sergeant Pete Dunn of the department told the Daily Catch that through September, there were only 7 noise citations issued in 2023, 5 of which resulted from complaints by the same 2 people. Dunn added that the noise complaints accounted for less than 1% of the police calls. So to me... I also understand why people wouldn't be calling the police all the time for this, but I also think that some people are just more sensitive than others. The person who was noted in the Hudson Valley Pilot article, he had, I think, created an earplug company they were talking about. So apparently he must be, more sensitive to noise, which I totally understand. I listened to a podcaster where his neighbor constantly complains about his pool heater. Others have visited his house and said they don't even notice it. He even says he sits right by where the heater is and he hardly notices it. But this neighbor is relentless. The neighbor will not stop. Some people are just sensitive to noise. You have people who are sensitive to light, to smell. I'm sensitive to smell, to taste, to sound, whatever. I'm addicted to earplugs when I sleep. Even at my home, I have to sleep with earplugs. So I understand where this person's coming from, but then it's a whole bag of things.
There's no question. There's an issue here, and there's also crazy people. So, yeah, this calling the police because someone's using a leaf blower to me is beyond excessive, and it's really not the thing I could imagine doing.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how this all shapes out, and we will continue on the Rhinebeck Scoop following this whole thing. My suite of the moment. I am yours truly. I am the guest on the February 8th episode of Gyno Curious with Amy Novat. And the episode is entitled A Journey with Gen Z and Autoimmune Disease. And I love that episode. I think I provided a lot of really good information. I go into my struggle with mold toxicity. I go into CIRS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, which 25% of the population has and doesn't even know. So definitely tune into that episode. Amy's awesome. Her insights are awesome. And then my sour of the moment, the proposed $30 rate hike per meter for Central Hudson. Central Hudson has been taking us through a journey for the past 2 years. It's been exorbitant electric bills. It's because of the Ukraine war, which I totally understand, not their fault, but then they haven't come out to read meters. They've been doing these estimated meter readings and the whole thing. And then they're charging people thousands more, which they've never made whole on anyone that I've heard of. I probably paid at least $1,500 extra. And now they're saying, let's charge you $30 more per service or per meter. So I'm not happy about that. I have 2 meters at my house. So Central Hudson, you have some major balls to do this. And I want to see the pushback and see if it actually goes into effect in July. But I'm just going to say, I don't think it's right or fair. To leave feedback on anything I've said today, I'd love to hear all of it. Agree with me. Tell me I'm totally wrong. Whatever you want. Call and leave a voicemail at 845-307-7446 or email me at comments@radiofreerhinecliff.org. You can check out my 3 podcasts and my vibe at freespiritpodcast.com and follow me on Instagram at freespiritpodcast. This radio show is produced by me, Jennifer C., Matty Rosenberg, and Jen Hammoud at Radio Free Rhinecliff. Get ready for the next time because we have a great show coming your way. Mark First, the publisher of the Hudson Valley Pilot, stops by to do a look back at the start of the pandemic 4 years ago. It's both insightful and entertaining. That show will drop on Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. See you in 2 weeks. Love you, RBK.
Yeah.